On today's Toy Spot, we are having a look at the Funko Game of Thrones Legacy Collection, figure number 9, Arya Stark. As we still continue to wait for Game of Thrones to come back, it seems like it's taken forever. So I want to pick up some of the figures from the new line of Legacy Collection figures, and I picked this up from the folks over at Toots Toys. I'm going to provide the link down below if you guys want to head over there yourselves, and if you haven't had a chance to pick these guys up for yourself, you can click the link and pick them up from Toots Toys. On the side, the crest of Stark, or I guess not really so much Stark, but the crest of Arya Stark there. Legacy Edition, and on the back of the package, Series 2 consists of Jaime Lannister, Brienne of Tarth, Arya Stark, Khal Drogo, Robb Stark, and Daenerys Targaryen. This is also a collaboration not only with Funko, but also the folks over at Gentle Giant Studios. I like really what they're doing with her and the Hound. I haven't read the books, so it's going to be interesting to see where they end up for the next season. I'm going to refrain from any spoilers in case you haven't seen the previous season. Spot's not going to do that. What I am going to do, though, is take a break. I'm going to get this opened up, and when we come back, we're going to get a better look at the Game of Thrones Legacy Collection, figure number 9, Arya Stark. There's more heading your way, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. For accessories, Arya Stark comes with Needle, her little tiny sword. The one thing I will say is, much like the other Game of Thrones pieces that I picked up, I find the accessories to be very fragile, so be careful bending this at all. I wouldn't want to break the blade, but a really nice decorative little sword for Arya to hold. Speaking of holding, her hands are extremely small. In fact, getting the sword into her hand, I had the toughest time. I find, if anything, the one hand here, and it's maybe this hand, a little easier to get the sword in there, but you really have to force it. Let me show you guys the hole that I'm talking about here. That's the size of hole that you need to fit the sword into. Now, the thumb and the 4 fingers are almost affixed together. They're almost like glued or molded together. So it's not even a case really that you could pry the hand away from the thumb. Because it's all one piece, you really would have to pry to get this sword handle in there. So I'm probably just going to leave it. I don't want to actually break it because I know it's going to happen. See, I have resistance putting it in, and that's enough for me to want to just leave it. I wish the hand was a little better sculpted, that putting things like swords in wouldn't have been such an issue. When it comes to a likeness, I think it looks quite a bit like Arya, and the later Arya with the shorter hair. But it's very muted colors. I mean, there's not really a lot of colors for the majority of these figures, just because the time period and the way that the movie is, or the series is, like a lot of these characters don't have a lot of like bold, bright colors. Arya especially, a lot of the outfit is mostly like dark gray, a little bit of a kind of like a brownish beige color, and then like all the colors are pretty much just variations of the same color. Lighter gray, darker gray, and then more of like a brownish beige gray. But like the face is really good. And that's a consistent thing that I've noticed with all the legacy figures from Funko, is that the face is really good. She's got a little bit of hair that's kind of covering the front, which I kind of think adds to it, that if the hair was just completely to the side, it wouldn't have been as impressive, but really still, that is a pretty good likeness to Arya in the show. All the details, the sculpt on the hair, very nice. Also, sculpt in the sweater that she's wearing, also equally nice. When it comes to her articulation, pretty good actually for articulation on Arya. She's a little limited when it comes to the shoulder and arm area, but she does have a swivel in the head, which is extremely stiff. It doesn't look like it's actually a ball joint. It looks like it should be a ball joint, but you can bend the head down, but you can't bend the head further back because of the way that the hair is. But you can bend it slightly down, rotate left and right. Shoulders are on a pin hinge socket, so they rotate out. They rotate forward and back. She's limited, though, when it comes to her forearms. There is, let me just bring the camera in so you guys can see, there is a hinge right there on her elbow. But look how far that hinge sits up, that to bend the elbow, like you're really only going to get it to about there. That's all you're going to really get out of mileage on the arm here. Hand is on what appears to be on a ball joint. Camera, please, thank you, focus. I love the dirtiness that they've added to the sleeves too. Like she has an overall dirt, like a really aged. She's been wearing these clothes for a while, and you can really tell by the way that the piece has been painted. When it comes to her waist is on a swivel, and then her legs go forward, back, and out via a ball joint. The coloring on the joint, I don't worry that the ball joint's going to break at all. If it was clear plastic, I'd be a little more leery, but it looks like it's a harder plastic. She does have a swivel in the thigh, and she has a double bend at the knee, which is really stiff. Even like, been playing with this figure for a little bit before I started shooting the video. See, that leg I can bend pretty easily. This one leg is stiff, so again, I'm just going to leave it. And then she also has a hinge, ball and hinge joint in the foot, which also allows the foot to pivot. Is it a good figure? It is. It's a good figure. The one thing I wish it could do is actually hold her sword. Like, between the handle being, like, fragile, it's more fragile, it's more durable, I should say, than the blade. But between the size of the handle and the size of her hand, something would give by me trying to force this in here. Either a thumb would break, or I would ultimately break the blade trying to get this to go into her hand. It's not to say it won't fit in there, but I would say, like, you really got to be careful getting in there that you don't break that thumb right off. That's the only thing I could really say as a negative to this figure, is I wish the hand was a little more, it almost feels like there's too much paint in the opening of the hand, that it's made the hand more closed in than what it should be. Maybe if anything, if you could take like a little small bit and just kind of work that opening a little bit bigger, then you could accommodate her sword. Without that, though, I would say be very careful trying to put that sword into her hand. For a rating, for the Funko Game of Thrones Legacy Collection, I'm going to give Arya Stark here an 8.5. Done very, very well. Just kind of wish the sword could have actually fit in her hand. If you guys are interested in picking up Arya here, as well as some of the other Game of Thrones figures, head over to Toots Toys, and they have a whole collection, a whole stock of these guys right now. Stay also tuned, guys. Spot's going to have videos of the other Game of Thrones figures. Those will be heading your way shortly. Thanks for watching, as you always do, and I'll see you guys next time.